what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I'm KT, and in today's video we are going to talk about inflation. What is inflation? We hear this term thrown around all the time, like, oh, this happened because inflation this, inflation that, but like, what is it? How did we even get here? So that's what we're going to cover in this video. Let's get into it. So what is inflation? Well, basically, inflation is a gradual loss in our purchasing power. And we're able to see this in this increase of services and goods over time, right? So this can happen gradually or it can happen rapidly depending on how we're looking at it. So ergo, or basically, the $20 that used to be able to feed a family of 4 for a week is now barely feeding you today. So that is in essence what inflation is. Now we kind of get into, well, how did we get here? And so there's 3 main types of inflation, how they're defined and how they contribute to what inflation is. So let's talk about those. And actually, before I get into the 3 types, let me tell you what they all have in common. So basically, at the root of it, the cause of inflation is a increase in the supply of money. And then that just causes a ripple effect. So for example, let's say the US government decides to print more money and give it out. And of course, nothing comes for free. So them printing more money cost them something, on some degree. So now maybe they're upping their prices on stuff, governmental policies, maybe on our taxes, on governmental programs, whatever. They're going to increase the price of that to make up for this extra money that they had to print, right? And so because of that, now when other companies are going out to buy the services from the government or in taxes or whatever the case, they're having to pay more. So since they're having to pay more, where are they going to get their money from, right? So now they're going to have to up the price of the services and goods that they offer to the people, right? So now that's more expensive. So now you're having to pay more for these services and for these goods. Now that you're having to pay more, now you need more money. So now you're asking your company to give you a raise. So you see what I mean? So it's this ripple effect that can happen sometimes just from an increase in money. So at the root of it, an increase in the supply of money is the root of inflation. Now let's get into the 3 types. The first one is the demand pool. So what that means is there has been an increase in supply. So how does this happen? So for example, let's say we as a people, there's an increase in money. So maybe, we all went on strike and we demanded more money from the government, right? And they gave it to us all. So now we all have, I'm not gonna say excessive money, but we have a lot more money to spend. So when people have money to spend, they're gonna spend it. So now they're just going out and buying stuff. So think of this as maybe there's a new hot item on the market, right? Everyone wants one. Or like I said, we all have money now. So maybe we're all going out and buying new couches and buying new TV. Regardless of what it is, people want to spend their money. So they're wanting to go to companies to get stuff. The problem is the companies weren't prepared for that. We as a people were spending money like this. Now we're spending money like this. So with that comes more stuff that's needed. So now these production companies, when they were having 1,000 to 2,000 orders, now they're getting 20,000 to 30,000 orders. So who's going to fulfill these? Well, that's going to cost more production. That might cause them to need to hire more people to complete these orders. It might cause for them to get more parts. You get what I mean? So they need to get more stuff and put more money into their company so they can get the items out to all these people that are ordering them. That's going to come with a price. So this can cause prices to go up because now that we're spending more money, we need to invest more money to get stuff out. So as you are wanting to spend more, companies are going to have to up their prices to meet that demand. And of course, it doesn't have to be this way, but most of the times it is. The next one we have is the cost push. So this is kind of opposite of the one I just went over. Now there's a decrease in the demand for goods. There's a decrease in supply. This can happen for a lot of reasons. So going back to my previous example, maybe there was, a lot of people, when an item was hot, everyone wanted it. Then, whatever model or whatever celebrity stopped wearing it, or they deemed it bad, now no one wants it. So the company had already invested and bought all of these and now no one wants them. So boom, now the demand for that has gone down, right? This could be a natural disaster and people are trying to survive. They're not thinking about fashion and t-shirts and stuff. They're thinking about food and shelter. So that could be another thing. Pandemic. I mean, we all went through that. We were all in our house with we couldn't spend money really, so it's like, again, there's a lot of reasons where a company could have a very good flow of getting stuff out and then all of a sudden no one is buying that item. Well, again, the problem with that is when the item was hot, the company had to invest a lot of money to get that out. And then when that started to slow, well, now they've already paid the production companies to make, let's say, 1,000 shirts. And when it was hot, they were selling those shirts for $10. But now that no one's buying them, or maybe only a very few group of people are buying them, how are they going to get their money back on that? Well, they're going to up the price. So now that $10 t-shirt, that when everyone was buying it, but now that no one's buying it, or only a small group of people is buying it, maybe they have to up that shirt to $15 or even $20 or even $30 to get the return on their investment, to get that money back, or to continue to pay the people that they already paid to make these things. You get what I'm saying? So when there's an abundant supply of things and no one is buying them, usually companies have to up the prices on that to try to get their money back somehow. You think it makes sense to maybe lower the price so people can buy them, buy them again, and that can happen sometimes. But regardless, this is just another way that inflation happens. And finally, the third one is built-in inflation. So this kind of goes back to what I said originally, but this pretty much comes down to the workers. So as things are going up, services, goods, all these things, prices are going up. People still need to be able to buy them. And that doesn't even necessarily mean, stuff that's not a necessity. Like we don't all need the newest pair of Jordans or, whatever, like these luxury stuff. I'm talking about basic needs. It's gas, electricity, rent, also all these things that we need, food. When those prices are going up, the people that are needing it still have to have it. So the only way they can do that is, again, by going to their company saying like, hey, cost of living is going up, my wage needs to go up. So it's a circle. So services are going up. Now these workers need to get more money so they can continue to pay for it. Now they're asking their companies, hey, we need more money. The companies pay them more money, but guess what? If I'm paying you more money, where's that money coming from? So now they're up in their cost of stuff. So that let me slow myself down. So when you think about it, when you think about that, let's say gym membership that you were paying $9.99 for, now all of a sudden they want to up their prices to $12.99. That could be because their workers needed a raise. So now that they're paying everyone $2 more, the way they're going to get paid is by paying you, the consumer, by charging you, the consumer, more money so they have money to pay their employees. Meals at a restaurant. I have a great example of this. So there was this burrito place I used to go to, like around the corner, and I went there often enough that I knew exactly what my balance was. It was $8.85 every single time. So when I would go, I would have my little $10 ready. Boom! I know it's about to be $8.85. One day I went, ordered the same burrito, got to the window. He was like, "That'll be $9.93," and I was like, I've been buying these burritos for the past 6 months. They've always been $8.85. So why is it $9.93 now? So like, prime example, something that you used to pay for and it was a set price. Now you might go back and it's going to be more money. When that Spotify, Apple Music, whatever, you're paying $4.99 a month for it. You're paying $9.99 a month for it. And every few years, the price keeps going up. You see what I'm saying? So it's reflected in that. So that's what we call built-in inflation. It just keeps going round and around. Now, you could say, well, if employees just didn't demand more money, then companies wouldn't need to up their prices. And that could be true. But as we have learned, that's not the only way inflation happens. So there's a lot we can do to try to combat inflation. If we were to use our critical thinking, put on that critical thinking cap and think about how we can do that. And we'll actually discuss that in another video. I think that would be something that we can say for another time, like what to do about inflation, what to do in the moment, how can we prevent it in the future, is it even preventable? All these questions I'll answer in another video. And if you have any questions about it, go ahead and drop that below because I'll consider that when I'm putting together the material. However, the last thing I'll cover in this video is, well, where are they even getting these numbers from? How is inflation being monitored? So there's actually 3 indexes that I'm not saying there's only 3, but there's 3 common that are used to monitor this. So we have the CPI, the WPI, and the PPI. CPI is the Consumer Price Index. The PPI is the Producer Price Index. And then the WPI is the wholesale price index. I'm gonna check my notes, come back to the video, make sure that I said those right. But pretty much those are the three that we use. And if you'd like, I can do a further video on those three as well, like, you know, how they go about doing that. But essentially that's the three indexes we go through to be able to monitor and see how inflation is. They usually run these reports maybe like once a year, but of course they could do them more often as they want to see how the economy is doing. So there we are. But yes, there's your video on inflation, what it is, what causes it, and how we get to where we are today. And like I mentioned before, I can make other videos about this topic, and I will make another video on how to survive inflation and if there's anything we can do about it. That's all I got for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. I'd really appreciate it if you gave me that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, as well as everything else that goes under the Stay Fit and Active umbrella, which I will link here so you can catch it out. As always, don't forget to crush it.